Let's talk about resupply boxes.
Jamil is here!
So you're preparing for your 2024 AT thru hike, and you've heard people talk about using resupply boxes. Well, you might be asking yourself, what is a resupply box? What goes into a resupply box? Where do I send them? Well, we're going to talk about that today. First of all, what is a resupply box? And that's a box that you put together most of the time before you leave on your AT thru hike, and you have somebody at home, friend, family, or somebody else, mail that box to a predetermined location on the trail. Inside of that box, you can have anything from food to clothing to equipment, whatever you would like.
Everybody, let's eat!
But first, let's talk about what kind of box to use. Now, you could use just your standard cardboard box. I prefer, when I did mine, to use these flat rate boxes here. It just made everything a lot easier, and I found that I was able to put 4 to 5 days worth of food in here without a problem.
How do I send this thing?
I have a link below from an article on the Trek that I used as a guide to kind of tell me where I should send my resupply boxes. However, from doing this trail, I would also add on to that list Hot Springs, North Carolina, and Delaware Water Gap. And the reason why I would also add in those places are twofold. One, there's not a lot of stuff there not a lot of places there to go and resupply. And secondly, it is a choke point for people going on the AT. Both of those routinely have people stop and do zeros or double zeros or Neros or what have you, or just definitely resupply there. So to make it easier on yourself, to ensure you get everything that you need, send boxes to those two locations as well. Also, I'm going to put a link below to all the post offices along the AT so you know where you can mail them. The post office for Hot Springs, North Carolina is right downtown. The trail runs right past the doors, so you can't miss it. Now, also, there's a lot of hostels that you can send your box to. A lot of times it's free for guests. For non-guests, they might charge $5 or something to accept it. It depends what you want to do. The one good thing about the hostels versus the post office is the hostels are going to be open 24/7. So regardless what time you get there, you can get your box. Unlike the post office. And like the post office in Caratunk, Maine, it's open for 2 hours a day. I happened to get there early in the morning, and it wasn't going to open until noon. So I had time to kill and just decided, hey, I might as well do a Nero there over at the Sterling Inn and, go and get my box when I needed. Luckily for me, the owner's son at the Sterling Inn ran the post office, and he knew my box, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but he knew my box, and he brought it to the hotel for me. So I kind of lucked out there. Let's talk about marking your box and how you're going to address it. Well, just like any other package, you're going to have let me put this up higher. You'll have the from address, and then you'll have the to address. And the way I have it set up right there with my name, care of general delivery, that is going to a post office. So if you're sending it to a post office, you can have your name on it, but make sure you say care of general delivery, and then underneath of that, put the actual address for the post office. And that way they'll know, okay, hold it off to the side. The other thing you need to put on there is the fact this is for an AT hiker. So put AT hiker, AT thru hiker, hold for AT hiker, things like that. The other thing I recommend doing, like over here, is you put an ETA date. Is it a hard and fast thing? No, it just gives the folks at the post office a rough idea when you're going to be there. You know, if it's a month after your ETA, they'll probably do a return to sender on your box. The other thing you need to do is make your box readily identifiable. So on my thru hike, I had stickers made up, and I put those on my box. So when it got to the post office, I could say, yeah, hey, this is my box, by the way. It's going to have a sticker for, the Old and Busted tour on there. And that usually got a laugh from the post office. But like the kid at the Sterling Inn, he knew my box. He knew the name. He remembered seeing it. So it was stuck out in his mind. So like on this one, I put all different types of smiley faces on there. And hopefully that will get somebody's attention and it'll stick out in their mind. Well, now you know what a resupply box looks like. You know where you want to send your resupply box. What are you going to put inside of it?
Loads of food. Heaps of food. Food out the wazoo.
Well, I think automatically the number one answer is going to be food. Now, when you're preparing your boxes, and say you're putting together 6 to 8 to 10 of these, remember, you're going to get tired of some of the food out there. Trust me, you'll get burned out on something. I finished up my thru hike October 27th, 2022, and I still haven't eaten tuna fish since then. I am so burned out on tuna, I can't even bring myself to make like a tuna salad. Can't do it. So even though now, you love this kind of ramen and you love instant mashed potatoes, I guarantee you there's probably like a 99% chance by the time you get to Vermont, you won't even want to look at this stuff ever again. So don't put this in every one of your resupply boxes. Keep it fresh. Keep something new coming in all the time. Even if it's ramen, don't get the cheap stuff. Why don't you go and splurge on some of the really good stuff here? I did that personally. I never got tired of ramen. I still eat it. I eat it all the time. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that I wasn't just eating, the top ramen that are 25 cents a packet. We've got a great Asian Pacific market here in Colorado Springs. And I had some legit ramen sent out to me. And boy, did it make a difference. If you're like me, you love coffee. And if you're like me, you hate bad coffee. But sometimes that's your only option when you're on trail. Most of the times when you're resupplying at a Dollar General or something like that, your option is bad, crappy coffee. For the little stick packs, I'm a fan of the Bastillo. But unfortunately, not everybody carries this. So if you have like a favorite coffee or a favorite drink mix, hydration packet, I would highly recommend buying a bunch of those before you take off and put it in your resupply boxes. Not every place is going to have, the drink mix you like, especially nothing that's specialized like the Ghost Nutrition here. Not every place is going to have that. So in order for you to ensure that you get what you want, put it in a resupply box. Hey, freeze-dried meals are a great thing to include in your resupply box. Here's something to keep in mind, and you'll definitely know what I'm talking about once you get 100 or 150 miles into your thru hike. But calories are king. When it comes to food, yes, what the calories come from are important. Is it protein? Is it fat? Is it carbohydrates? But overall, calories are very important. So when you're getting your dehydrated meals, keep that in mind. Who doesn't love biscuits and gravy? Okay. Who doesn't? But this right here, 560 calories for the entire package. Versus this Peak Refuel, this is beef pasta marinara. 1,040 calories. Okay, almost twice as much, roughly the same weight. This is going to be better to carry. You're getting more calories per ounce of weight than you are with this. Hey, this is wonderful. It tastes great, but you know what? I'll never carry it on a through hike. This is what I'm going for. I'm going for the higher calories. So when you're picking out some dehydrated meals or some, not dehydrated, some freeze-dried meals before you go on your through hike, keep that in mind. Look at the calories. Don't get freaked out that this has got, 55 grams of fat in it, whatever. You want the fat. You want the fat. You want the protein. Both of those are slow burning calories. That's what you need on a through hike. You need the slow burning calories, that are going to fuel you throughout the day. And you want the protein especially because, let's face it, every single day you're out there, you're doing a leg workout. And for you, you're going to be tearing down your leg muscles and you're going to be rebuilding them. And in order to do that properly, yes, you still need carbohydrates. Yes, you need fat. But overall, you need the protein. So there you go. Keep that in mind. Look for high protein, high calorie. Now, the good thing is while you're back at home putting these boxes together, you can start going to these discount warehouse clubs, places like Costco or Sam's Club or BJ's.
What did you say?
What did you say?
Go check out one of those places there, and why don't you buy your stuff in bulk? Don't put 2 pounds of almonds into one resupply box. Break them up, put them into Ziploc baggies, and have them sent out that way. And by the way, if you haven't had these, you're missing out. This shit's awesome, yo. You need to try it. And the last thing I'm going to talk about with food is don't be afraid to reward yourself. So, for example, my favorite backpacking meal company, these guys right here. I'll let that focus. There you go, Trailbound. They are on Instagram under Trail Magic VA. Go check them out because they are making unbelievably good backpacking meals. So this one here, Hawaiian pulled pork with coconut rice and pineapple salsa. Or, and this is freaking unbelievably good, cheesy Southern style shrimp and grits with bacon. Who has shrimp and grits on the trail, man? But oh my God, this is to die for. I'm telling you, if they rehydrated this and put it on a plate in a restaurant, I'd pay $15-20 for it. No lie. So what I would do is I would have my boxes set up for certain places. So one of my resupplies that I did was to Fontana Dam. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. But in my Fontana Dam box, I had one of their meals in there. And that was a reward for me from when I finished the Smokies. So it was nice. I got done with all of that, my last night there before walking off and actually hitting Standing Bear Hostel. What I had for dinner that night was one of the Trailbound Trail Magic VA meals, and yeah, it was nice. So yeah, there are times where you don't worry about the calories and you think about, you know what, I'm going to reward myself. Some things to think about to put into your resupply box: gear items. And what do I mean by gear items? Well, one thing, your water filter. I started with the Katadyn B-Free. I found replacing it to be very difficult. The only people that really carried those were outfitters. And after, like Carlisle, Pennsylvania, all the way up until, was it Manchester, Vermont, there were no outfitters. So there was no way for me to replace that filter if I needed to, and I did. Because after Carlisle, it started to fall apart. There was no place to replace it. However, if I would have thought ahead about what I needed to do, I could have put, a filter, not necessarily this one, but a water filter into one of my resupply boxes instead. The other thing too is if you have a tendency to get blisters or hot spots or something, and you know what, we all love Leukotape, but you can't go into Walmart and find Leukotape. Either you got to buy it online, or if you're lucky, a certain outfitter might have it. I mean, even REI doesn't carry this stuff, which is a total screw up on their part, but that's another discussion. So, Leukotape, if you go through a lot of this, you might want to, set up some resupply on this too. Maybe not the whole roll, but, you can break it down where you can send, a bit in each resupply box. So some other things you might want to consider putting in the in your resupply bag or resupply box. Ziploc bags. You're going to go through a lot of these. They're going to wear out, whatever else, because you're going to use them for like your first aid kit, or you're going to use them for your ditty bag. Things like that, they're going to wear out. And a lot of times when you go to do a resupply in town, you have to buy a box of, 41 gallon bags. You don't need 41 gallon bags. So why don't you take a handful of these, put them in your resupply box, all different sizes, and just do it that way. One thing I also did too, every box had a new toothbrush. Because I was back home here, I could go to one of those big warehouse stores and I could buy them in bulk. So I bought one of the packages, broke it up, and put a new toothpaste in every single box. If you're still using, batteries for something, they're not lithium batteries, they're alkaline, so you can ship them. Send yourself some batteries, a couple AA or AAA or whatever you're using. Now, some things you can do also are seasonal items. So you can have your box set up that's going to go to a certain point, and by the time you're going to get there, it's going to be tail end of spring, maybe beginning of summer, something like that. So, maybe you might want to put some sunscreen in there. Or, there's definitely mosquitoes out there. Maybe you want to throw some bug juice in there. Definitely very handy to have when you're on trail. Going back to the Fontana Dam box and also keeping seasonal items in mind. This is the one resupply box I recommend everybody do if you're starting between maybe 1 March and, 15 April. By the time you get to Fontana Dam, most likely you will not have encountered any snow at all. However, not the Rockies. Well, the Rockies, yes, but the Smoky Mountains have their own weather system. It can be sunshine at 70 degrees down in Fontana Dam, but the time you get up to, say, the second shelter in the Smokies, you're butt deep in snow and it's 20 degrees. So what I recommend doing is do not start your hike with your microspikes if you're starting within that time frame I talked about, and have a resupply box sent to Fontana Dam with your spikes in there. Microspikes aren't light. They can be a pain in the ass to carry, especially for the first 100 some odd miles. You don't want to be burdened down with this extra weight because it's worthless. You're not using it. But when I was in the Smokies, I wish I had a pair. I really do. In fact, one day coming down after Klingman's Dome, that trail there, I slipped and fell 6 times on the melting snow. I broke one of my trekking poles, one of my carbon fiber trekking poles. And because of that, the next day I needed to get off trail and I went into Gatlinburg, which that's an adventure all by itself if you haven't been there. Anyway, but if I had some microspikes, I probably could have saved some wear and tear on my body and not ruin a pair of trekking poles. Probably staying on trail to the end of the Smokies. And talking about seasonal items, you know, I started off with, you know, some winter weather gloves. I had a Alpha Direct hoodie and, you know, a down jacket. But after so long, I didn't need all of this, and all of us together, it's a decent amount of bulk and a decent amount of weight. So I asked Mrs. Outdoors to put in my Bland Virginia box my Melons on the Wind Pro hoodie, and I was able to swap all of this out here for just this piece of equipment. Don't do like I did and just mail this stuff home, because when they received the box with this in there, evidently it smelled pretty badly when they opened it, because I didn't wash it before I sent it. Sorry, honey, love you. So yeah, wash your stuff ahead of time if you can. But I was able to swap out all of that gear for this right here, and I kept this until up in New England, maybe like Vermont into New Hampshire. And then I had Mrs. Outdoors send out this Melly. I sent this one home, and I bought a synthetic jacket from REI for like $50. It was a steal.
In a hermetically sealed box?
Do not seal your resupply boxes. Keep them open. I guarantee you, your needs are going to change from the day that you create those boxes to before they're mailed to you. You might need to get a new piece of gear. You might say, you know what? I freaking hate this ramen. You never know. So keep the boxes open, so whoever is back home supporting you, you can let them know, hey, I am burned out on whatever. Like for me, it was these Costco protein bars that every time I ate one, I thought I was going to lose teeth on it because they were so damn hard and chewy. Didn't take long to get over those. And I told Mrs. Outdoors, take them out of every last box. I don't want them. I don't want to ever see them again. Just throw them out. They're freaking disgusting. So keep your boxes open. Don't close them up. And this way you can be flexible if you need to add or subtract to those boxes. And I think that's going to just be a little bit more efficient and more effective for you in the long run. So anyway, that was Resupply Boxes 101 according to me, and what worked for me and what didn't, and just tips to give you guys so you're more successful in the long run.
Is it over?
If you've already done an AT through hike or any through hike where you did resupply boxes, please comment below what worked for you. If there's different places that you should send resupply boxes, let us know. If there's certain things that you put or did not put in your box, you know, that you wish you had or wish you didn't have, like Costco protein bars, let us know below. I would really appreciate it. And please, you know, you guys going out on 2024, you are about to embark on a journey of a lifetime.
The journey of a lifetime is about to begin.
And I'm just hoping that you guys will be able to gather something from these videos I'm putting out so you can be more successful. There's plenty of other ones out there too. Watch videos until you can't watch videos anymore. It's better to know more about what you're getting into and what to expect than to know less and to be totally shocked and unprepared for it. So that'll do it for now. Thanks for watching. And oh yeah, by the way, like, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down. You know that jazz. We'll talk to you soon.
So he's an idiot.